If you can't do it, then maybe you should let someone who can, like me.
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money before I was legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too sharp, I stay on my toes. About that white boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding because we all came from Hunger Pains.
We're here. Lay Ill Kid at One Young Sir. Look, we're going to have a good time, all right? Breaking it down, give me a StreetGEEK and NERDSoul because we're going to have some fun. That's right, we're not by ourselves, but we are here to talk about Rings of Power. Rings of Power, y'all. You know, everybody rejoice. Rings of Power, it's here. Everybody's happy. Nobody's displeased. No matter what you've seen on YouTube, everybody's excited. And with that said, we're not by ourselves. Down in the bottom square, Jay Shearer, what's up?
Hey, it's good to be here, back talking about Rings of Power. I think it'll be a really interesting conversation because not only is it the end of the season, but there's so many things left completely unsettled. that we can talk about. So,
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Yes. And right over here, that's right. You know him, you love him, Solar Gray.
I am good. I am good. How you guys doing out there, guys? Coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. I'm Solar T Gray. And yes, I am good and tired. I'm so tired. But we are here, and yeah, y'all know how I love showing up for these season finales.
Yes. So I'll go in and throw it to Jay. We got the whole show. The whole season. It's all here. After the final frame, what are your initial thoughts of the show?
I would give this episode in particular probably like an 8.5. I did like this episode, this finale. Overall, I give the show maybe a 7.5. I think it has room to grow. It's not. It's similar to. I had to compare it in my mind to The Witcher, and I had not read the Witcher books. Right, I just watched the series on Netflix. I hadn't even played the games. Just watched the series on Netflix. First season, I'm like, you know what? I just really like fantasy stuff, so like I'm here for it. But it's a convoluted first season. Like it is all over the place. And then season 2 came out, and I'm like, this is legit a great show. Like I really like this show. Season 2 is cool. So I think I'm giving Rings of Power I'm still in. I'm gonna watch next season, but it's not like a resounding success like I would say Andor is, or even House of the Dragon, right? Like those are like, okay, this is legit. This one's like, okay, it's gonna grow on me, but I like it.
Okay. Solar?
Well, truth be told, I would definitely give this one a 3 of a kind. Hard fought hand. A hard fought hand. As y'all know, I've been in the camp that this show is being unfairly maligned throughout the entire season. Not to say that it was perfect, not to say that it was great, okay? But I've seen worse. I've put up with worse. I've put up with
seen worse this year.
Yeah, right. Hell, we've covered worse on this show. Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm just I've been breathing in a lot of resin fumes. And yeah, hard fought hand, but it's a solid 3 of a kind, and I'll even go 3 face cards on that. I mean, it ain't gonna win every hand. It ain't gonna be the climax of a gambling movie, but it is very much like, wow, all right, I made it through. And truth be told, this last episode was that river card, man. This season finale was that river, I gotta say. But I know we're gonna be getting into it, so that is where I say it is. Actually, it reminds me of what I tell people when I tell them to read the books of Game of Thrones. With I know. Just hold on to page 172, okay? Just hold on, because in the edition that I have in the soft cover, that's when the boy gets pushed out of the building at page 172. So it's like, yeah, look, plumbing, heating, flags, wait, what? I know, hold up. And that's where it is. This is, very much that.
All right, so for me, I actually ended up, it's weird. I like the finale. I think the finale is solid, but I didn't get what I wanted.
Okay.
I didn't get what I wanted. So all in all, I like the finale. I like that the story of the Harfeet is kind of over, and we don't really have to deal with them anymore. I mean, you have Nori, but Nori is going, she has her own thing, and the Harfeet, they're gonna go to their next encampment or whatever. They'll be all right. So I kind of like this done, and I like the acting moments that we get throughout this. So it's weird. I didn't get what I thought we were gonna get, or what I wanted, but I'm also not mad at this finale. I'm like, you know what? This finale, I think it's because, and we can get into it after this, because I think this finale does a great job of kind of setting up the next season. But is that what a finale should do? Should a finale cap this season, or should a finale set up the next season? And that's what I've been driven between, because this season does a good job of like, ooh, y'all wait until next year. But I was like, I want to see the Balrog. I mean, he just woke up, and he didn't wake up. He wasn't like, what time is it? 10? I think I might lay down a little bit. No, he was like, raw, I'm awake.
Yeah.
And
Who's
so
throwing
like,
crap on my lawn?
So
I told y'all not to walk on the freaking grass.
So I kind of wanted to see that, and maybe at least that begin. But I did get to see a lot of Sauron. I was waiting to say that. Why do they say so? Maybe he wouldn't be so mad if y'all didn't say his name, or just be like, "Hey man, it's Sauron over there," and then be like, "Cool, yeah, Sauron." It's like you gotta say it all with all like your throatness in it. But
yes,
but we did uncover we uncovered the Sauron plot and the Istar, which I'm glad you're here, because I was like, okay, cool. He's Sauron, and then he got up. He like, don't you be messing with my people. And then now we found out he isn't. So we got some things uncovered. We previewed for the next season. And we even got, we got some good acting moments, some fan stuff. So I'm not mad. It's just not like what I wanted.
Okay.
So, I was expecting a little more fighting. And Arendir was nowhere to be found. All right? Nowhere to be found. All right?
Bet he's going to be in the first episode of season 2.
They ain't but 2 brothers in the show. We lost one today. All right, we lost one. So and the other one ain't even there. Come on, man. But I guess you could also say we didn't see Mayor Lady either, and we didn't see Theo. But I mean, look, they're not cool fighting elves. All right, so they don't count. So
I wish you cut Bronwyn some slack, man. She's a great character.
I mean, she is, but I mean, I want to see like some fighting stuff. When I want to hear like a resounding speech to get everyone ready, who wants to go home and who wants to go with me? Or like, this is our Independence Day. Or like, so something like that, then yes, bring her in. But I just want to see him fight like that big old orc. When he turned around, he was like, oh, this is going to be a little tougher than I thought. Like, I want to see that. I want to see, blood flying all over the place. It's orcs, man. All right? It's danger. All right? We don't have time for sad goodbyes. We don't have time for that. We got to fight. We got to put Mount Doom, put a cap on it, all right, and clear the air, and then, fix some stuff. Even though technically we know it doesn't get fixed, like, forever. Because I don't even think, I haven't watched
just
the third
2,000 years.
But
yeah, just a couple of thousand years.
Yeah, just a couple thousand years. No big deal. So I'll throw it to Jay. Jay, what's one of your, I guess, favorite moments of this episode?
Oh, the battle of the 3, I don't know what they're called, the mystics or something like that. The three ladies, the sorceresses. That battle, where we're basically saying it's Gandalf at this point, right? Like,
yes,
yeah. So, the point where they fight him, I thought was fantastic. It was obvious use of the budget, right? Like, oh, this is what the budget was used for. Like, it was cool.
You know what? I don't need that DeLorean. Let's do a wizard fight. Come on, we got the money.
Exactly. So I thought that worked really, really well. Some of the Galadriel stuff I thought was fine. I do think she's improving as a character, because now she's being humbled a little bit. She's watching out for things a little bit better. So I do like her character development there. But yeah, for me it was mostly just the revelations. I thought the revelations were done pretty well, right? Like they kept hinting at him, and like, now we're just gonna tell you this is what it is and this is how it goes. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part.
Okay, you, Salah?
So, one, I got to give it up to the actors in this episode. Even Galadriel brought their A game. You could almost hear the director saying, "Look, if y'all don't nail this, we don't get a second season, and every acting job is a temp job, remember?" So everybody came out like, "Yeah, I'm the Jesus figure. What's up? I can speak English now because I'm good with the snails." So that's a thing, and I'm gonna be saying things that are nice and tender. And you got Elrond and Celebrimbor, who did not get enough screen time, sitting up. I wanted to give it up last week to Gilgalad, where it was like, "Nah, man, too little, too late. We gotta go." I want to back you and I want to trust you, but I'm king, and you're asking me to gamble our species on your hunch. I think I've got a couple of favorite moments in this episode. I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling some manly tears. I was feeling some manly tears in this episode, specifically because of the Harfoots. Now don't get me wrong. I don't like that they killed the old black man, but it's fantasy, so every mentor character is going to die eventually. That's just what happens. I do like the fact that he went out like an old black man should. Just like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm going to go see my wife. Like, Elizabeth, I'm coming. So just let me sit here, watch the sunrise." And no, you can't. Shh.
I'll be okay.
I'm finally getting a rest, y'all. I've been tired of y'all for a while. Now I'm out. But that wasn't my teary moment. My teary moment came when Nori actually left, and that last hug sequence with her best friend. I'm like, "All right, guys, just stop it now. Fine. But I know you called in Pixar writers. I know it. Fine. All right.
I'm surprised that worked on you. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that worked on you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how much time we got left? Like, go on and say bye. You done said bye to everybody. Like, let's get out of here. Because I thought there was a possibility to still see Arendir by the end of this.
Yeah. See, you were sitting on the Arendir train, so nothing gonna work on you. But they set her up to be Sam, and now we have what happens if Sam didn't go. And it was that same moment of like, "I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you." It was one of those moments. And that was like, you could see the friendship between the two actresses. It was so hard. So that was good. It's funny, as much as a ringer as I have been for decades, I did not recognize those three bald white women. I didn't. It just came out, and I'm like, "Ooh, love the outfits. Whoa, hey, look at that. Look at that. Hey, what's going on? Who are the?" I don't, you know what? I don't care. They're doing. Oh, wait.
I don't care.
Now, I was talking to a friend of mine about this last week, because it's all been the game. It's all been the whole game of Sauron. No, that's Sauron. No, that's Sauron. And I'm like, he a wizard. Like, Gandalf used to be called the Stranger, and I said this on the show. I'm like, he a wizard. But Sauron and the wizards, same rank, same cosmic position, same levels of power. And, not to mention, Harfoots are pretty much proto-hobbits. You can see it in their feet, and the fact that they just like to eat and just chill. And I'm like, "No, dude, he's a wizard, dude. Matter of fact, that's probably young Gandalf. That's Gandalf Brownbeard, not Graybeard, And it was good to see that I was right. I also liked the twist reveal. The conclusion to the game, like, oh, that's Sauron. No, that's just the first orc. That's the first orc. No, that's Sauron. No, that's a wizard. No, that's Sauron. No, that's Bronwyn. Okay, that's Merlin. No, that's Sauron.
Merlin.
No, that's just a creepy old dude. So, and then to find out who he was, I'm like sitting up going, "Well played," because I was always afraid that this show was going to make Sauron typical action movie villain, because in the Legendarium, that was Morgoth. Morgoth was really smart, And he was only afraid to fight one being. One being. That was it. One being. One of the other Valar was specifically created to look at Morgoth saying, "Don't make me get up." And Morgoth is like, "No, I ain't. I'm leaving because I want to. I'm gonna just go over here." Yeah. But Sauron was a shape changer, a manipulator. He was he was that dude. He was like Grima Wormtongue or Sauron. He was just that dude that was always tricking people.
He definitely came off. He's essentially the devil. He came off like I never lied to you. It's like, if you wanna hold that over my head, yeah. But you omitted the truth the whole time.
And technically he didn't.
Stop it.
It's like, you tricked me into coming here. I wanted to stay in Numenor.
It's a lie by omission though.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
They went through the whole thing of like who I am, where I'm from, and you didn't say you knew who you were. Come on now.
And I kept telling you, I don't want to go back to the South. I don't want to be that person. You're the one that said it's our actions and our future that define us. I was just trying to be a Smith. That's all.
Jenna James said, the funniest part of this finale is that Sauron was actually going to give up the evil ways until Galadriel dragged him back in. So essentially, Elrond was right in sending her away in the first episode. Then follows up, says, after all the setup, how could they show all the worst parts of a toxic relationship without a single kiss? This is not a rom-com dramedy. I was sold. Because honestly, he was like, cool, I'm in Numenor. I'm going to just chill, kick it out here, mind my business.
I disagree.
He was.
No, I disagree.
Or do you think that he was going to be like, I will find a way to become king of Numenor?
No. He was. I could see him going, when I take over the world, these are the only threat that I got. The elves are on their back feet right now, but these Numenorian men, I got to take them out. But while I'm here in Numenor, I can corrupt them, I can weaken them, I can turn them into not the threat that they are. And so I don't think
he was just on a boat. He was just chilling out on a boat. He was on
he was on a raft.
A raft. A makeshift raft. So we didn't get a kiss then. We didn't get a kiss with them. And I will say, that moment when she looked in the water, you saw him. I was like, yo, honestly, I know that's evil, but that's kind of a cool shot. Like, you would be my queen.
Did you catch the
quote? And you would be my king.
Yeah. Did you catch the quote?
What quote?
Not dark, but beautiful and terrible as the dawn, stronger than the foundations of the earth, which was exactly what she quoted when Frodo offered her the ring 1,000 years later. And she's like, oh, this again. And I really kind of like that.
That's cool.
I really did like that.
Nice. See, I didn't notice that one. So that's nice. Yeah. Also, I'm going to go in and say it. I was trying to hook everybody up in this show. Lisa was like, you trying to hook? I was like, okay, look, with the man.
You were shipping
the Numenor man and the queen. I was like, look, he ain't got nobody. You ain't got nobody. He got rusted good looks. You pretty. What's holding y'all back?
Okay.
All right. What's holding y'all back? Then on the other side, who's the other couple?
That the moment of true friendship got me. I'm shocked that you were shipping characters in a show you mildly tolerated.
No, I like this show. After 4, 5, and 6, I like this show. After 4, 5, and 6, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm in. But I'm like, look, y'all ain't got all day. You know what I'm saying? You got one life to live. You got this woman beside you. You know what I'm saying? Go and take that woman now. Take her hand. Walk up them steps together. You know what I'm saying? Together as a unit. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, no, I won't do it. Shan't. And she was like, I'll go up the stairs alone. Like nah. And then before Halbrand was, acting crazy, Sauron, I was like, you know what? Look. Because when they were going, when she was like, we rode 6 days with no rest, I was like, look, You only do that for somebody that's your man. Go on and take that man's hand. But now I was wrong on that one. Don't take your man's hand, because then y'all gonna be evil, and then everybody. Because imagine Sauron plus Galadriel. Nah, bro, y'all. I honestly ain't got no chance. Because we find out later, like one of the questions I asked, I'm like, hold up, when did she get magic skills? Like I thought she was just like really cool at fighting. Where did all this magic stuff come from when she was fighting the other Saruman? I was like, where all this magic come from? I was like, maybe it was thousands of years she went to magic school and like.
Wait, are you talking Galadriel or the Queen?
Galadriel.
Galadriel always had magic. Actually, she's a stronger magician than soldier.
But they don't display that.
Oh, they didn't show that. Okay,
they don't display that. So from someone who's watching Lord of the Rings movies and then watching this show at the same time, you're like, whoa. Where did this magic come from? And I'm like, well, I guess it's 1,000 years. Maybe she went to magic school and learned that.
Actually, yeah, kind of. And her husband was a little bit better. I was actually surprised when she talked about Celeborn, because it's like, and he was dead, and I'm like, I don't recall that, but the lore is thick, like really. But yeah, there was definitely a lot on there, and now I'm pretty sure the Queen ends up with Elendil anyway. Because Numenor is all cool and dandy and star shaped and all advanced technology. We know where this is going.
yeah. And
they even showed the dude that brought it around. It was like, whoa, who put up a big statue while we were gone?
Yeah.
I mean, that statue. Yo, I mean, okay, I know this is TV time. So they never really let you know it's been 10 days or 12 days. They don't let you know that. But I'm like, I think it takes a long time to put that together.
Well,
and it seems like they just rode over there, had a fight, rode back. And where did that statue come from?
Well, the ride over there took about 7 or 8 months. But
okay.
But the biggest
thing
that
means you had to get started quick.
Well, that's the thing. The Numenorians are that good. It was that island is the peak of humanity. I've been looking at your other stuff, so I know you've been watching the other movies. When Elrond says the blood of Numenor is spent, or is all but spent, and gone are the days of the good men, like essentially what we're seeing is Isildur is a screw up, and he was the last good one. So everybody in that country is better than him, and we see what his daddy can do. So his sister is good at her job. Everybody else in Numenor is good at their job. So the whole point there is no, they could probably do that in about a year.
Okay, now,
and it'll last forever because they're magic.
Zeus Bilou said, to be fair, how anyone who spends any amount of time with Galadriel doesn't become a psychopath is a real question. I mean, okay, Galadriel, she's tough. She really is tough. And in the last episode, I think there was a real missed opportunity with a fight while they were hiding under the tree or whatever from the orcs that were looking around. They had the worst peripheral vision ever. But Galadriel, she's all right. I mean, once you get past all the posturing, which I'll be honest, some people don't want to get past, and I get it. But since we had to get past it, she's not too bad. She's all right. Like when she's with Elrond, she doesn't do this stuff. Like when she's with new people, she acts stupid.
Well, in truth, we all know people like that. Where it's like when you see them around their people, it's like, that's who you are. But when we met, you were like, yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. And it's like, is your face broken? Can you not smile? Do you never laugh?
So Jay, I want to ask you, because they kind of, I was wondering what you were thinking. When it comes to Numenor, they kind of position this conflict when they get back, because all right, you got The daughter, she's drawing the king. She goes to wipe the king's spit because the dude drooling, and he grabs her arm, but then he says, "Go look at the looking stone, the seeing orb or whatever."
The Palantir,
And then you got the other guy. He's over there. You know what I'm saying, with his hands on. So
he's up to no good.
Where I guess what do you think we're gonna come back to in Numenor? Because I don't think they're gonna be too welcoming of the queen, especially returning with probably like a third of her men or something like that.
Yeah. Well, okay, so two things then. I think that's for sure. There's gonna be chaos in Numenor because dude with the giant tapered beard and long hair, that guy's up to no good. We know he's up to no good. He wants to take him in a certain direction, and the queen is coming back as a failure, right? So like he's going to be able to say something like, I told you you shouldn't have been going in the first place, so we shouldn't have had this whole thing, we should have done it differently, so you should all listen to me now. So I think that's going to be a conflict for sure. And then when it comes to the guy's daughter who was doing the drawing, right? Yeah. Which, by the way, I think that they confused us a little bit because they said like you can do his likeness, but then when they pulled back into the harbor, like the statue was already there, and it was like, wait a minute, I don't know, like you switched that up.
It was his likeness when he was young.
Yeah,
not
right.
old decrepit dude.
Right, but I'm just saying, like the time frame, it was like we're gonna make something cool, but then you see what's cool, like, and it felt like seconds later, right? That's why I felt weird. But anyways, I think that what's gonna happen is, whenever the Palantir gets involved, I feel like it's kind of saying like you have a role to play in this bigger narrative. And so I feel like that the girl, I don't even know her name. Do you know her name?
I forgot her name.
Yeah,
I can't remember the daughter's name.
Isildur's sister, basically. I think she's going to see something that shows her what her role is in this bigger thing that's going to play out. So what does that look like? I have no idea. But Numenor is going to have to, I mean, and Solar knows this better than anybody else, but Numenor is going to have to rally behind Isildur, and Isildur is not going to end up like maybe temporary hero, sort of, for a while, but then he's going to go bad later. So there are going to be some rocky times in Numenor.
Oh, yeah. So how many spoilers do you guys want? Question.
Yeah.
Just go ahead. I mean, because
I don't care.
Okay.
The show and the story.
Again,
I mean, because the movies from like thousands of years are already out. We've already seen them.
Yeah.
And then this is so. I mean, it's kind of already spoiled, sort of.
What we're watching is the fall of Numenor. It is doomed. All right. That's it. Sorry if y'all ain't read the books or any of the lore, or don't have an associate's degree in Tolkien. Numenor is doomed. It is Atlantis. All right. It is the pinnacle of mankind. It is great. It is Babylon. Read your Bible, see what happened. Seriously, that's really what it is. But it falls because little Mr. Hand Ringy there essentially starts cults to Sauron because the Numenorians have one major fear, and he has been pumping it up. He's been fear-mongering the whole season. And that one fear is death itself. Why do the elves get to live forever and we don't? Because the cost of humanity was we get free will. We get to choose whether or not we believe in the gods, where the elves don't. They know. When they're like not messing with the trees, it's because they know the god that created the trees. They have lunch with him, or with her rather. And she's the same one that created the Ents and the Huarns and the ones who tore Isengard apart in the second movie. So they know what the cost is, but humans get to choose whether or not they believe. But the cost of that choice is a short life. Now, the Numenorians live to be about 2,000 years, but 2,000 years to an elf is more like 10 to us, So it's like, we know we gonna die one day, and what's up with that? And in the lore, he convinces the Numenorian navy to try and hit to Valinor, where the elves live with the gods, and be like, hey, what's up? And Iluvatar essentially says, oh, you gonna do that? Like, I think it was 70% of the army went that way. 20% stayed home, but the other 10 went to Middle Earth, and that's where Elendil and Isildur went, and how they became the kings of Gondor and Arnor. So that's why they were on Middle Earth, and Numenor fell and all that stuff, and that's where the Rangers come from, and how Aragorn came to be with his line and all that. So he said, "Nub, going, our king is dying. Is that fair? We gonna die one day too. Is that fair? No, we get to be immortal through our works. Why not do good works? Let's build a statue. Now let's build a temple to Morgoth. Now let's do some sacrifices. Now let's do some stuff. Now let's go to these gods and say, what's up? We're as strong as you now." And we all saw Prometheus, so that's that was the plan, to go over there and get the heads ripped off, saying we're just as big as you are. And Iluvatar, the god of gods, was like, "Oh, you're gonna be like that? I gave you this island, and you know what? I'm done with y'all. First, I was just gonna take all the doors off your hinges, so you could, you don't get no privacy in your bedroom, because that's my bedroom, because it's my house. Well, this is my planet." so yeah, you don't get your own room anymore. You got to go bunk with the elves and the dwarves and the orcs and,
make your own
the dirty
way.
people. Yeah, and the dirty people. So you don't like my rules? Fine, get out my house.
Boy. Like they need to find a good stream or something like that.
Well, the elves have invented soap, and they just it's one of the guarded elven secrets, like the Palantir. Can we talk about the character growth of Galadriel? Because I was really, really, really impressed by the writing when they were talking about making Quenya Ninya and the other ring. And he was like, "Oh yeah, but we're gonna need like gold and silver of the purest thing. We're gonna need gold and silver from Valinor, and we can't get to Valinor right now."
Yeah.
And that particular scene with Galadriel sacrificing her brother's dagger, that
Hashtag
was
growth. Hashtag growth.
That was right there. It was like, that was cinematic language of her letting go. It was like, you failed, you met the dude, you sussed him out, you couldn't kill him. Now it's time to do something different. Maybe you should start using your brain instead of your fist. You're good with your fist, but your brain is better. So let go of the dagger, grieve your brother, because we got real work to do. We got like real work to do.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the whole statement of like, 1 corrupts, 2 divides, and 3 I can't remember what 3 did. 3 brings together. I don't know. 3 bring
bring 3 balances, because there's
and they
always
zoomed in on
somebody
those
to keep an
rings
eye
like
on
a
the other
million
two.
times.
Yeah.
It was like, look at the rings, look at the rings, look at them one more time. I was like, we see it. They
really didn't get to see them very much in the trilogy.
True.
We got to, the fact that, like, I know where all the rings end up, but we only got to kind of see Galadriel's ring in the Fellowship, but it's a blink if you'll miss it moment when you're looking at Elrond's ring, the blue one, and Celebrimbor's ring, which ends up going to Círdan the Shipwright, who eventually gives it to Gandalf, and that was the Flame of Arnor when he's fighting the Balrog. He's wearing that red ring.
That's cool.
So when he's like, "I'm the servant of the secret fire. I fight for God, wielder of the Flame of Arnor. I've got this ring of power right here."
Okay,
that's cool.
So now, thank you for answering that for me, because I had that question. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I got a question for you, and then I have then we'll ask Solar afterwards, because Solar is probably going to know the answer. But
42
of all the Lord of the Rings stuff that I've seen and all the stuff that I've read, I still don't understand one thing. So I'm going to ask you first, Michael, and then we'll get the correct answer from Solar. My question is, were they supposed to create the rings, or was Sauron trying to get them to create the rings to desire the power so that he could create the one ring that would rule all the rings? Like, is it a good thing to create rings?
I'd say probably not, but they needed this power to kind of like, you know, save everybody. Well, save the elves, not everybody. They don't care about nobody else because they're selfish. But anyway, selfish, elvish.
Thank you.
But I think that he was like, cool, this is the perfect time for me to tell them how to save themselves so I can steal it from under them as soon as they finish making it. At least that's what I'm thinking. Because he's like, okay, cool, they'll make the ring, and then I'll catch them slipping, and I'll steal it. Because the whole power over men thing, I thought we were supposed to be saving the elf land or whatever. What you need power over men for? Why is that important? So I think that was his long-term play. Was like, hey,
you can power a cell phone on a car battery. I mean, you might just need a phone call, but you know, it's there.
So anyway, what's your thoughts? Because I think
how does it work? Because I've always thought, and I'll say what I've always thought too.
So
I've always thought that they were gonna have that Sauron was trying to get them to create the rings so that he could create one ring that like took almost like zapped the power of all the other rings. But I could be totally wrong. So Solar, what is it?
You guys are not far off at all.
Okay.
Like at all. The thing is, pardon me for just a minute. All right. The thing is, Sauron taught ringcraft to Celebrimbor. Now, Celebrimbor himself is the one that made all the rings, all 19 of them. However, it was Sauron's plan the entire time to be like, I'm going to give them this little piece of myself, which is knowledge. And then once all the powerful people are in the right spot, then I'll use a bigger piece of myself to control all the other pieces of myself. He was essentially buying off all the bosses. Okay. And I like the way that they showed it because again, Sauron is well that's the thing. When they're good, you say their name normal, but everything in the Lord of the Rings, when they're evil, you over enunciate. That's why you have Smaug and Grima Wormtongue. And again, when Gandalf first went to Saruman, he was like, I have to go see the head of my order, Saruman. He is very wise. But then as soon as it turned out he was evil, it was Saruman, you know? So it's a subtle thing, but I'm glad you picked up on it. But yeah, so but Sauron's entire purpose was to take over the earth and rule it and free his boss Morgoth from darkness. That was his whole plan. He was Starscream, he was Soundwave, he was number 2 in the ranking. Okay. So he was on Numenor, but if you notice in Numenor, he stuck with the Smiths. You know, he was like, no, I got the anvil, I got this stuff. No, I'm gonna be making this. So the rings were his thing the whole time. He knew all he had to do was tell Celebrimbor just a little bit of a thing, and he'll be like, yeah, I can make it an alloy. And if it's circular, then its power will go in and feed off of itself. And Sauron's like, yes, that's all I had to tell you. And then as soon as all 9 rings to the dwarves were out there, and the rings to the elven kings, you know, that was the whole thing. 7 tribes of dwarves, 7 rings, 3 elven kings, or 3 elven rulers: Galadriel, Gil-galad, and Celebrimbor, or Lothlorien, Lindon, and what would be Rivendell later. And 9 to the kings of men, who wanted power and immortality, i.e., he starts with Numenor because men are the easiest ones to turn. They got the most to lose. You know, elves, 7 dwarf lords, they're kind of greedy, or, you know, they love hoarding stuff. So give them 7 rings to make them greedier so that
They
they can
love
dig up my army.
gold.
You know. And yeah, but if they can control the elves, they control magic and technology. If he controls the men, he's got the disposable fighting force alongside with orcs and their ingenuity due to a shorter lifespan. Because remember, how long has it been since you came here? Yeah, it's only been 20 years. How long? 20 years. How long? And you've got the dwarves who dig up all the natural resources. So you need steel, you need mithril, you need the gold, you need all the spell components. That's the whole thing. Not to mention the dragons and the balrogs and all that stuff are underground. So wake up my actual crew, So it's a good plan, and keep in mind, these are things that live in what H.P. Lovecrafty people call deep time. So 1,000 years, that's like a year. Now,
so, ZSB Lou comes through and says, I still can't believe the best telling of the Second Age still comes from Shadow of Mordor / Shadow of War video games. When I think of Celebrimbor and Sauron's human form, i.e. Anatar, I picture the depictions from those games. Now, I've never played those games. I never knew those games existed. So I don't know if those are... I don't know if they're canon or not, but I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody online has to have them, like the cut scenes, and I can watch those.
Yeah,
but
I'll send you a link.
Are they? My question is this what? Okay, so Zeus, I got a question for you. It seems like you're in the camp that doesn't like the show. Why don't you like the show? What is it about the show that you don't like? Because I've seen a lot of arguments online, and this might also, or a lot of arguments against the show online. And the reason that I see it differently, I think, is because, I'm essentially new to it. Like, I've seen the movies before.
Yeah, you're coming in clean.
But you know what I'm saying? I don't have any like nostalgic tie to it. Like, I've seen those movies, and now I'm rewatching them because it's been years since I've seen them. So I mean, because it's just Lord of the Rings I'm not into it like that. So I'm trying to learn Lord of the Rings kind of like I know like Star Wars. But even with Star Wars, even though that's tied to my nostalgia, I don't personally get as mad as I've seen other people get. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, that movie's not cool, I'm not gonna watch it. But I don't have this like kind of like anger that I think a lot of other people see. So let me know how you're feeling on that, because I'm interested. I've seen people attack it from a cinematic side. I've seen people attack it from like a lore side. Now the lore, I don't know. All I know is what's on TV. I'm going to be honest. I don't have time to read all that stuff. Maybe if there was an audio version of all this stuff, maybe I could get through it. But I mean, for instance, even Bleach, Bleach has 1,000 Year War, the new anime that's out. But guess what? I watched the first episode of that because it's starting at 1. But I've never watched Bleach. That's 366 episodes of a show I have no idea of. So, I mean, yes, it's all available on Hulu, but when will I be able to watch 366 episodes? Even if there's a filler, even if there's a no filler list, you're still probably looking at like 200 episodes. That's a lot.
Well.
You know what I'm saying? So, is it a situation where you just don't like little changes here and there, or is it like a complete overhaul of the Second Age? Because what I've heard doesn't seem to be a big deal, but at the same time, I'm not in it. And I guess in this case, Zeus is gonna comment in a second. He's commenting. I'll wait till he's like done. But I'll throw it to Solar. Like, how are you? Because I mean, you are deep in the Tolkien universe. So how are you feeling about the show? Do you feel like it's like a complete overhaul and it's like, pooping on the before times, or where are you at on that?
All right. So one of the people who I think we never deserved here on YouTube, Lindsay Ellis, has a series about the Hobbit movies. And she goes full on that PhD level. Again, we never deserved her, and I'm sad that she's gone. Um, she goes full in to admitting that the Pete Jackson movies were lightning in a bottle. Okay. The love of the lore, the love of the project, and the belief in the project that every person from Ian McCullen all the way down to the dude filling the tables for craft services, everybody believed in it. And it comes out on screen. Those movies are bloody magnificent. Okay. And most people, especially the ones complaining, come in two flavors. One, they saw those movies when they were young. Just like with Star Wars fans, most people complaining about Star Wars are in their late 40s, early 50s, meaning they saw A New Hope when they were tiny. This set the bar for what they believed a genre could be. And when people walk into other stuff, there is a huge chunk, if not at the forefront, but in the back of the brain, of make me feel like it did when I was a kid. Nostalgia is a hell of a flavor. And if you don't believe me, talk to anybody in their late 30s about any X-Men cartoon after X-Men the animated series with the guitar riff that I've just mentioned a little bit, and everybody can hear in their heads right now. Don't deny it. Do not deny it. You're hearing, whole time. X-Men is a TV show. Figured that you wanna know that is a TV show. Watch it. And these are the same people that compare every Batman property to the 1992 animated series. So there is a lot of that. All right, there's a lot of nostalgia on there. Oh, thanks, Vera. You're awesome.
Hey, Vera, thank you. Good. I'm glad you actually got to catch it too.
Yeah. So there is that, and I see a lot of the complaints about this show being it's not the Pete Jackson stuff. They're not saying it outright, but when they insult the cinematography, it's a different cinematographer. They insult, like, I haven't seen very many people insult the production value because the show looks amazing, but they didn't use Weta, so it looks different. And people are complaining about it looking different, and they don't like stuff that's different. I've heard people use all these different things like, well, can the actress for Galadriel show any kind of emotion in her eyes? No, because that's not the character. I dare you to watch John Wick and go back and watch anything starring Keanu Reeves in the 90s. You'll see something completely different. Okay. So all of these complaints, again, I'm deep in the lore. Does this insult? No. People say, well, Tolkien didn't write about black dwarves. Prove it. Where in any of the lore does it say how white their skin is? It doesn't, except for some of the elves, and not the elves as a whole. And it never said the men of Numenor and Arnor and Gondor and all these other places like the Southrons are their skin is Caucasian, as though they were from Norway. It never says anything like that.
As though they were from Norway.
As close as he gets is the dark Numenorians and the Easterlings and the Southron being dark. But this is in the same context as all death is called darkness.
Okay.
And its version of hell is called the shadow. So are they talking skin color or are they talking vibe? And he ain't alive to say so. So these people are saying, all this other stuff, but does it ruin the lore? No. There's too much of the lore to ruin. Way too much. At worst, this is like getting an ink stain on 1 square inch of a bed sheet at the very, very corner. And yeah, I chose that metaphor for a reason. Thank you. But I look at this, it feels like the world. Okay, but yeah, it doesn't look like the Pete Jackson stuff. No, it was filmed in 2 countries instead of just New Zealand. So it's a different interpretation. And it's not even claiming to be part of the Tolkien of the New Line Cinema universe. Okay, it's not really that. But these are the same people that say not my Star Trek. These are the same people, because the Discovery crew is not the Next Generation crew, and the people who love the Next Generation crew right now, back in the day before we had social media, was talking about how Picard wouldn't stand up against Khan. So it's all just hate for the sake of hate.
All right.
Because
Now,
people don't want to admit that they're adults now.
Zia says, I was too distracted by the creative decision to give young Elrond Steve Harrington's hair to focus on anything else in the show. All right, look, yes, the hair did throw me off, but I just put that on like elves always be trying to be like fashionable and like, always like have the cool hair. So I just threw it on that.
The only thing that Bright did good.
And then ZSB Lou says, I can see why people would like this show, but I just can't with it. After fighting my way through Amazon, breaking my heart, and butchering one of my favorite fantasy books with Wheel of Time, I could not do it a second time. I dropped this at episode 3 and have zero regrets because everything I've heard is a complete, I guess he broke off. But anyway, okay, then Zias. You shouldn't watch this, man. Go watch something that excites you, gets you hyped. I mean, I'm glad that you're here hanging with us, but I mean, if this is like breaking your soul, like you need to like go watch something that doesn't break your soul. Or
I'm gonna pop in here on this. I've been trying to, I've been trying to get Mike to watch
things that make you happy.
Yeah. I've been trying to get this dude to watch Game of Thrones for years, and he won't do it, and that's fine.
I watched one episode of House of the Dragon, and I was just like, all right. I was like, or maybe, was it 2? Was it the second one? I can't remember. The last episode I watched is when they bring the little girl to the king, like, yo, you can marry my daughter. And the dude with the Tyler Perry wig.
Yeah.
So if that was the second episode, I've watched 2 episodes, but I was just like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm glad other people like it, but I don't care. But at the same time, I'm not watching like review shows for it.
That's the thing.
I want you to be like, excited about your stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is going to bring you down. This is going to because then you're going to be like, I don't like it, but NERDSoul, he all happy. But I mean, I want you to be excited. Jenna James says, it's obvious, quote, it's obvious these people don't care about Tolkien, what he stood for and what he wrote. They just wanted to leech off an established IP to tell a story they want to tell that would have appalled the man they desecrate. Can't say I got that from what they said, but you can see and hear what you want when you're dead set on it. So I guess that's kind of the energy that's coming from, at least I've seen a couple videos about the cinematography of the show, and I'm like, it just seems like a reach in my opinion. Now, yes, I know they're the people that they have to have their focal lengths, they have to have their depth of field, they have to have their specific establishing shots and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not as necessary if you just tell a story that's cool. I mean, how much of that was being done? I mean, let's all be honest with ourselves. How much of that was being done in Pulp Fiction, which people act like is the best movie in the world? How much of that was being
quite
done,
a bit?
How much of that was being done in Clerks? No, not if you want. Okay. Not if you want to be like these people with the cinematography stuff. No, it isn't. If you want to go down the focal length route and the depth of field and the establishing shots, no, it isn't. But people still like it. People still enjoy it. So I think, at least from the stuff that I've seen about the cinematography side, it seems like using cinematography as a way to just dump on a show that you don't like. And if you don't like the show, I'm cool. Don't like the show. There's a show this week that I saw that I'm like, I didn't watch the show. I was told to watch the last 2 episodes. I watched the last 2 episodes and I was like, wow, Really? This is what y'all want to do? All right.
Well,
Okay. But
and
I don't like it.
I know
But
what
I'm
that was.
also like, I'm not watching like review shows or like making shows about like how much I hate it. Now, I'm like, hey, y'all open up a whole nother can of worms if y'all do this. Because there's been people on Twitter saying, well, like, hey, if you can do this, then why don't you just do this, at the end of a certain movie to fix everything whenever you want to? And it's true. And I think it's a bad idea. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I was Bob Chapek and they came into my room, and into my office and said, this is what we're going to do, I'd have been like, you want to use my money for what? But it is their show. I will leave it alone.
You know what? You and I see absolutely eye to eye on that particular point. Especially now, I'm a man that tries to understand everything. Okay, it's part of being a wizard. I'm like, all right, let me see all these points of views, and I definitely get it. I get why there's so many review shows out there, because we have to chase the biggest god on YouTube, the algorithm, and hate sells more than love. All right,
That's true.
Hate sells more than sex.
It really does.
A certain
and hateful sex, Mr. Beast. No, I'm kidding.
A certain dignitary proved that to the world about 4 years ago. But
yeah, I mean, seriously speaking, like my big question is always, well, what did people want? I remember when Man of Steel came out, and I was meh about it. When I saw Man of Steel, I'm like, it's fine. But what I saw, and okay, well, I'm not quite sure where the comments are going, but I love She-Hulk. That's a different discussion. But when I ask people, hey, what did you want? And they're like, the cartoon. I'm like, but the cartoon already exists. And it's like, well, I wanted like more of the Christopher Reeve stuff. I'm like, then watch it again. There's like 4 of those movies, and only 2 of them were good. But again, it's very much.
You didn't like Nuclear Man or whatever.
I
Negative Man or whatever he was.
I loved Superman Part 4, but just because I love it does not mean it's high quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I mean, I love Hell Comes to Frogtown, but that is not hell. I love Manos, The Hands of Fate, and the only thing that's ever used for in film school is don't do this. Those are not good movies, but I love them. And that's a big thing. When I see people doing all this hate, I can see that they had something built up in their own imagination. And I'm not one of those people that go out and say, well, then go make your own, because I know how hard that is. All right. I really do. But I also hear people, I got friends that are telling me, well, these people are asking for my money and my attention. I'm like, they're putting it out there and letting you know what's there. They're not knocking on your door going, hey, Marvin, dude, bruh, you should totally watch this.
Have you heard about Lord and Savior Sauron?
Seriously, they're not like holding a gun to your head specifically. This is when a lot of my friends go off about how much they hated Captain Marvel. They're like, and Brie Larson this and all this other stuff. I'm like, bro, it just wasn't for you. But you're spending a lot of energy on something you don't like. You should go watch Ghostbusters 3. You like that, go do that thing. Like, I like eating steak. So I'm not going to sit around complaining about how poorly breaded these pork chops are. I'm going to go get a steak unless I don't have another option, in which case I shut my mouth and I'd be thankful for the pork chop I got in front of me, like I did with every superhero movie I watched in the freaking 90s.
The Captain Marvel, the Captain Marvel was like, it was just okay. It wasn't that it was bad. I think it was when they did I'm Just a Girl at the end, I was like, okay, all right, you're all the way on my nose. I, was like, I get it. We get it. I get it. But then Captain Marvel, the moment with her and Captain Marvel and Nick Fury at the end when he's singing the song of the Marvelettes, I'm like, that's some great chemistry right there. Can we scrap the movie and start over with this chemistry? I like when they're together. I actually like those two together. I really do.
And maybe we'll get that in the Marvel show.
Her and the Kree guy, I was like, he kind of wet. But her and Nick Fury together, I actually liked all their scenes together. They actually work well together. And her and Maria. Her and Maria, because Monica was a kid. But you know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, I was like, I think if you change the focus of this movie to different people, this movie works out. And then just don't play I'm Just a Girl at the End. Please, just don't play it.
I'll jump in with a couple comments, by the way, about why I think this stuff happens, right? Why do people get negative about these things? I think there's a couple things that are happening. One is that there is social value to knowing the lore of things. Like there's social value to it, right? Like there's value in Solar coming on this show and explaining to us what the lore looks like.
Good point.
Like there's value to that. So we exchange with Solar and we go, dude, Solar is cool, and he brings in some knowledge, and now I feel more knowledgeable because of it. So being the lore keeper. Man,
stop trying to make me blush. My skin is too dark for that.
No, it's true. But so there's a social value to like lore keeping, right? Now it makes it worse because back in the day when we were kids, the lore keeping, let's face it, we were all nerds. We were nerds when we were lore keeping because we weren't the jocks. We weren't out on the field. We weren't doing whatever that, now there are some lore keepers who were also jocks. I don't want to suggest that there weren't. But so then what we see is when we see culture shift in a way, and it goes, now we have a new lore. We're going to tell new stories with some of these old things. All of a sudden that value diminishes because if we go, wait, you just changed all the lore on me. I had value and now I don't know. I can't keep up with it anymore. I'm too old to keep up with this stuff. I can't do this anymore. Now I
got kids. I got a job. I can't watch all this stuff.
Exactly. So now you've diminished our perceived value, right? And so that to us is like, oh man, like I knew that stuff. And because we knew that stuff, we felt like we had somehow co-created it. So it feels like you're taking it from us to a certain degree. Kind
of back to my question of the Star Wars, like who owns Star Wars? Does Disney own Star Wars?
Right.
Or do the fans own Star Wars?
Right.
Because it is a give and take. Because I mean, yes, Disney owns the IP, but if nobody sees a movie, if nobody buys a toy, if nobody buys a book bag,
you gotta change
then it's kind of worthless. So the value of it comes from this kind of exchange of creating and consumption, but then you don't want to like overstep your, I don't know, ownership of the consumption side of the process. I don't know. I have to think about it. I know there's a smarter way to say what I'm thinking.
No, I see exactly where you both are coming from. And it's like, look, I understand that level of bitterness when it comes to the lore. I don't like to say lore keeping because I'm like, the number one thing every nerd wants to do is share to feel relevant. But we want to share on our terms, you know?
Exactly.
But I guess I've just lived too much life, you know? I have seen professional athletes have to pass it off. I was there when Magic Johnson passed it to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still here when I see everybody trying to take it from Jordan and give it to LeBron or Kobe. It's like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, shots fired. But the fact of the matter is times change, things move on. And I know, again, I look at a lot of stuff and I've been part of a lot of making of modern pop culture. And there comes a point, and this is every creative knows this, where you look at the thing and say, you know what? That was a good thing. I did a good job with that. You know, I've been out of anime circles since 1999. That was when I got out. Okay. I've been out of heavy metal since about 2003. And that stuff moved on. I'm not a key. It is not like when I stop, it stops, right? It goes on. It was there before, you know, rock and roll was there before me. Hip hop wasn't, because I It and I came around the same time, but it's going to be here long after I'm gone, you know? And it's like, this was the part that I played, the tree that I planted, and that tree dropped off some seeds and it's growing into other trees, you know? That's called life. I don't want Elton John to be singing in the background with a bunch of freaking lions, you know, talking about all that stuff. And I get it. No one wants to feel irrelevant, especially nerds, because nerds my age, your guys' age, we started irrelevant.
Yeah.
Then what we like became popular.
That's exactly it.
And then even when it was popular, we were still made to be irrelevant.
Okay,
you know, when
so
the popular
check,
kids started playing, still nobody wanted to play with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
and it's
so
like,
check this.
It's not the thing, it's people in relation to us.
Yeah.
And as soon as I accepted that, I was able to just move on. Again, I love Lord of the Rings for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat was talking about Wheel of Time. I get it. I loved the Bulgariath as well. But I think about how the grown-ups felt in 1985 when Crisis of Infinite Earths rebooted the whole DC universe, and how a lot of people in their 20s felt 5 years ago with Time Runs Out and Marvel rebooting that whole universe, and how people felt 5 years ago when Breaking Bad ended.
Yeah.
You know, stories come to a close, guys. I mean, it happens. Time moves on. It's called life.
Yeah.
Or as my great grandmother used to tell me, keep living.
Okay, so I think I can lean. All right, so I'm trying to, and I know we went off on we'll come back and then tie up and close. Okay, so imagine something just like nerddom that's for you, and it's really only for you because everybody's like, I don't want to watch that stuff. I don't like that stuff. That stuff is stupid. Nobody reads that. Nobody listens to that, or nobody plays that music, or nobody whatever. That's stupid. That's just dumb stuff for you, and nobody likes it. Now, it's popular. It's for everybody, and then in turn they say it's not for you, and you're like, wait.
Yep. Exactly.
You told me that you didn't want this, and this was only for me because I was stupid and I was like living in my mom's basement. Now you got it, and you're saying it's not for me. Whoa, I made this, so I guess I can see that. I can see that. I can see that kind of energy. Like whoa, hold up.
I get the
we was whack like 10, 20 years ago. And now all of a sudden, because, this is not to throw a bomb but I know comic book owners from across the states. And it seems like once Avengers hit, that's when all of these people were suddenly reading comics when they were younger.
Right? They're not the ones I read when I was 5. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I was trying. I handed you Avengers.
I remember there being a lot of talk around the internet around after Avengers, maybe around like the kind of like Thor 2 Avengers kind of time, where they were like, this demographic was like, we've always been here. We've always read comic books. We've always been around. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm not going to argue with you, but like, I mean, maybe just in Virginia. So I literally got on the phone with people that I knew that owned comic book shops in like Ohio, in New York, in Florida. Somebody that owned a comic book shop in Arizona. I was like, yo, I'm bugged. I might be bugging. Like, did you see this demographic coming into your stores? Like, all the time. They're like, we've never seen it. Yeah, and I was like,
those people bought their stuff from 7-Eleven. They didn't know about comic books.
Now, with that said, when I was coming up, there were comic books available at 7-Eleven. There were comic books available at like Kroger or Food Lion. So could have got them there. Yeah. Honestly, you honestly could have got them there. So. That is an argument to be made, but I just remember doing like a little bit of research, being like, man, because I remember like I was shunned, and I remember like drawing this stuff, and like I would draw, and my art teacher would tell me that comic book art is not art. I remember I would read comic books, and then my English teacher would tell me that comic books or graphic novels is not literature. So I remember this stuff. And
Mhm.
I remember a certain demographic not being interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because I remember now, but that's why I called around because I was like, hey, I grew up in Virginia. It can be completely different in,
Yep.
I don't know, Kentucky or
Yeah.
completely different
It
in
was
Oklahoma.
it was
So,
kind of popular in the 90s due to the speculator boom. Okay, when the speculator boom came out,
yeah.
I still remember in the 90s on the bus to school listening to the radio, and I heard commercials for X-Men #1, Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, X-Men
Yeah, I
number
forgot.
one.
Because when there's money to be
You know,
made, you do get another. But
right.
even in that case, you're still talking more on the collector and the speculator side. They're probably not like young kid readers.
Well,
Maybe.
well, those speculators brought about a lot of young kid readers. I mean, that was
Okay,
all
true.
happening when I was in junior high or middle school, as y'all call it now. But like, I even understand the bitterness. Real talk, masks off, true confession. I had that bitterness in 2006 because my property had then become popular. And when I say my property, I've said it on the show a whole lot. I like Star Wars. I love Star Trek, but at its core, I'm a Whovian. All right. Doctor Who was my jam. I remember waking up on Saturdays at like 7:30 a.m. to watch Doctor Who on KCET public programming. The same channel that gave me Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and Reading Rainbow was also showing this weird British sci-fi show about a time traveling weirdo with a terrible sense of style.
Oh man.
Anyway, I'm not British. And then in 2006 when it came out and it became popular, and I'm like, I went to my friends flat out and I'm like, don't give me any of this crap. I tried showing you VHSs of Doctor Who, and you were like, the effects are stupid. It looks like it was done on tape. I don't want to watch it. And now you claim to be some sort of expert, and you're trying to keep me out of the conversation. But then and that was what made me realize it wasn't the property, it was the people's relationship to me. Those people didn't want me relevant anyway.
Yeah.
They came into my arena and liked what I liked. They just didn't want me there.
Yeah.
And once I came to terms with that, I'm like, dude, that was just a mind-blowing revelation. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of insulted because when I was trying to show you guys how good this is, y'all didn't believe me. Y'all didn't even want to let me finish my sentence. So it's like, y'all really ain't my friends. And then once I got that, I was able to move on and make good friends that actually trust my taste in things and like that stuff. And that's the whole thing. So this fighting for relevance of I liked it before you did, how come you're treating me like crap, comes down to the fact that they were going to treat you like crap anyway. They were treating you like crap. They were already treating you like crap. You might not have noticed it. And again, like, I'm the old man now. Like, now with my new work schedule, which is all day, every day, and half the night. The thing I actually enjoy watching on YouTube outside of this channel the most are reaction videos. I love watching Black people in their early 20s listen to and enjoy the heavy metal that I got into fights over liking because people thought I was worshiping Satan. And I like them reacting to the movies that I grew up watching, feeling the same stuff that I feel, that's my way of feeling relevant and not alone, like, and that's just the thing. I'm like, no, let the new people like what you like, because most of the people that are reacting with hostility are the same people like from those old milk commercials in the 80s. Oh, you know what? I'm playing D&D right now, and you don't think I'm stupid, or you think I'm stupid, but I'm drinking milk. And then one day, a bunch of voice actors who are all good looking and do like dirty content will be playing D&D, and you'll want that. And I'll look at you and go, what's a 30-sided die? And you won't know. And that's when I'll have my revenge. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
Oh
I
boy.
did all that stuff because the people that like it now outnumber the people that made fun of me when I was a kid,
Yeah.
you know? And that's the
Of course.
big thing. It's like now I'm in, and I'm not just in because of my lore, but I'm actually now a big shot because of my freaking experience and the longevity.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in with the same groups I was in when I was like 18 or 19 because they had been there longer because they grew up white, middle class with access to money and the stores that sold this stuff.
Mhm.
But that don't matter. That don't matter now
Yeah.
because
Now
everybody's
I
got
have
access.
all the money to be able to buy all the video games I want and no time to play them.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
But I mean, my kid is 23 years old, and the number one thing that we talk about is the D&D game that they run. And I'm able to give them tips and tricks that I used back in second edition and talk about the fantasy novels or the all of the books that I read from Edgar Allan Poe or Voltaire or Candide or any of that stuff that I was doing to put into their D&D games. And they're like, you're pretty cool. And I'm like, what? Okay.
I know that. No.
That's
you
cool.
know and yeah, so I was lost to my generation, much like most nerds, but fact is, one, nerds run the world, although rich people rule it, but nerds run it. And as time goes on, when I was growing up, it was about Thomas Jefferson, but as an adult, people are looking at Nikolai Tesla. It was about Steve Jobs. But then there's everybody else talking about, yeah, Jobs wouldn't have been anywhere without Wozniak. The people who do the work, and the ones who love the lore are the ones that actually get the clout, not just the popular kids. And I know it doesn't seem like that because YouTube is essentially let's monetize being the popular kid.
I gotta bounce in just a minute here because I got another appointment at I guess your time too.
Top of the hour.
Yeah. But really quick, I just want to throw this out there too. I do think that there's one other thing that happens as the decades pass by, and that is culture. The view of something changes, right? And one thing that's very impactful to me is that I consider myself a Christ follower. Tolkien was Catholic. Mm-hmm. One of the things that he cared deeply for, and you see it in Lord of the Rings most especially, is the eucatastrophe. The fact that Frodo was going to go through the hero's journey, but at the end of it, he could not fulfill the hero's journey because he was only, quote unquote, human just like us. He could not be perfect. And I think that, like, for those of us who resonate with something about the original work that was like deeply impactful to our spiritual being, that when someone else comes on board, they're going to have a different spiritual perspective, and they're going to showcase different spiritual perspectives in the thing. So I think that's another thing too that comes out, was like, I can't have the expectation that it's going to be like mind blowing to my spirituality when I watch Rings of Power, right? So that's another angle, is like the things are going to change, perspectives are going to change, and I should watch it so that I can see what other perspectives are, maybe learn from those, or be able to have a conversation where I go, hey, did you know in Lord of the Rings they do it differently, and here's what's cool about that from my perspective. So I like those kind of discussions. So but
we need to talk a lot more, because there's a lot of divine intervention, and I mean, seriously, Frodo getting to there was God's plan to get the ring to where, and either way, that ring was going in. Either Frodo was going to fall, Gollum was going to fall, it was going to drop and roll the wrong way. That's because God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, you mean roll like that
is up close?
You mean roll like that apple rolled all the way from Gandalf to I was like, that's the rollingest apple. I'll throw it to Jay real quick. What do you want from season 2, and where can they find you?
Cool. And then I'm going to bounce real quick. So, okay. What do I want from season 2? You know what? I want the Balrog. So I was like you, man. I want to see that Balrog. So I got to get the Balrog in season 2. I definitely want to follow the Bronwyn. Is it Bronwyn? The Mayor Lady story, and
Mayor Lady.
The Mayor Lady story and the Arendir story. I want to follow those for sure. And I want to see more. I think Solar's point about Galadriel's growth was was great. I want to see more of her growth. That she's headed down a good path. If you give me more of those things, maybe sprinkle in a little bit more of the lore, I'm gonna be a happy person. So with that, I'm gonna take off. It was great to talk to you guys today. Love and Rings of Power. I'll be around.
And see him on the Story Geeks and all that good stuff.
Story Geeks. Yeah. Always on the Story Geeks. Take it easy, guys.
All right, see you.
All right, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, so
Oh, not yet.
Not yet. So, what do you want to see from season 2? Say season 2.
Season 2.
Put up 2 feet.
From season 2.
And where can they find you?
I want more dwarves in season 2. I want to see more of Moria. Since this show is essentially about the fall of everything that's showing up, I want to see the fall of Linden, or the setup to the fall of Linden. I want to see the Balrog, but more to the point, I want to see the battle that took down. I want to see Durin writing the They Are Coming book. And I definitely want to see more of Numenor. I want to see on screen what made them so great. Because so far, what we've seen on the show is the thing that makes them great is they're pretty good with tools and they can take a shower. And I want to see a little bit more than that. I like the juxtaposition between the regular humans and the Numenorians, but I want to see more of that. I want to see what makes these humans so much better than all the other humans in Middle Earth. Okay. And with that, I would normally say you can find me Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. on Twitch, but Back in the Deck Productions is on a little bit of a hiatus right now while I'm working this job and fixing a bunch of funding problems. But you can always check out the archive over on the YouTube channel. Just look for Solar Gray on YouTube. You can also check out what's left the archive on Twitch. And of course, this is big. You can get some of the earliest stuff over at soundcloud.com/BID_P. So yeah, we out there, we're over there, especially if you want to hear how things have evolved over time. A lot of YouTubers and stuff are like, well, my early stuff was trash. Of course it was trash. You knew, you were learning YouTube and SoundCloud and all that stuff. They were different platforms.
Yeah, something about it isn't something that you like now. That's the good thing. Like as someone who hasn't picked up a pencil in a long time, when you get back to drawing, it's going to be bad. Just draw every day. It depends on what you want your profession to be, but draw every day. And then 6 months out, a year out, look at those first drawings when you first, and you're like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I do feet better now. Or I finally got back into the the hang of drawing hands or whatever. No matter what it is, the beginning version is not going to be great. Even if, like, say, if you're talking about YouTube, your video quality might not be great. Like, you might still be kind of like the same person, but your video quality might be, or maybe your
when
audio
YouTube started, it was 360p. Now look at us.
Oh yeah, it was cat videos and like a lot
Pandas
of prank
falling
videos.
Down.
Oh,
Pandas
but I mean,
falling down.
according to Atlanta, Soulja Boy pretty much made YouTube. What I want from season 2, I want to see Adar and Saruman. Because he was saying like, hey, he tried to like take my creations or whatever, and I had to kill him. So it's like, apparently you didn't kill him. So either A, you thought you killed him, B, you lied, or C, you still have an axe to grind. And I want that worked out. Because if you have,
I think it's B and C. Yeah.
Because if you have an axe to grind, that means that's another fight scene for me. Now, I want to see. I want to see the Queen and Rustic Man. You know what I'm saying? Look, you ain't got nobody. She ain't got nobody. She up in that castle all lonely. You know what I'm saying?
Rustic Man.
Isildur's dad.
Elendil.
Oh, Elendil. Yeah, Rustic Man.
Yeah.
Like, he's sitting in his house lonely.
You just call him
sitting
Dill.
in your house lonely. Yeah. Now I know people gonna be like, "Oh, you just can't put everybody." What? Look, you only live once. All right. What you wasting all this time for? All right. And plus, y'all live longer. You want to live longer alone, or when you want to live long with somebody you can hold their hand. You know, walk through life with together. You know.
Honestly, they're a good match. They're always working.
Boom. There you go. You got the Navy man and you got the Queen lady. Boom. Put it together. Now, so that's what I want. And more Aaron Deere styles of just fight scenes where it's sometimes huge orcs, sometimes him like sniping other orcs. That fight scene I loved a lot. I want to see some more fight scenes from him and see where he goes, because when compared to Galadriel, it seemed like I guess he's like lower than she is because he bowed to her every time she came through. Mm-hmm. So maybe, see him progress, grow, or whatever. Or he might just be like, hey, I'm gonna kick it here with Man Lady. I'm gonna kick it with Bronwyn. Get my love on, have little elf babies. You know what I'm saying? Just, I don't know. But I would like to see some more fighting styles and some cool, orc blood and stuff, all that.
Given the nature of his armor, he probably ends up being a high-ranking official in the Greenwood, which later turns into Mirkwood. Because there are wood elves. It
does look similar to the chest plate stuff that they had on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So okay. Good point.
So yeah, and that being the case, I want to see some more of the Greenwood elves, because that's where Legolas and Thranduil come from, and they're haughty and all that stuff, but they're not just about the big towers and stuff. They're out, running around dressed in green and stuff. I know. Thranduil is a jerk.
He was like, help us, man. He was like, psh. But then later on, he's like, look at my face. I'm like, well, if you would have told my daddy this a long time ago, we might have been all right. But
he's like, I don't gotta justify myself to you,
But now you've created a problem for everybody. Just like Elrond. Don't get me started on elves thinking they sweet and then messing up stuff in history. It's like, you know what? No. I'm not going to throw this in the lava. Yo, he's right here. Just push him over, man. You an elf, right? Just use your cool skills and push him over there. Then you messed it up. It's your fault, Elrond. It's your fault.
There's a big school of thought on that, but that's for a different show.
You were right there. But anyway, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. We got a lot of gaming content. Oh, grab the freestyle comic stuff. Yeah, that will. We got freestyle comics. There's stuff from Kickstarter came in yesterday. Yeah, boom.
Yes,
we got it. We're gonna be reviewing this right here, and right here, and also right here. So we got some new comics from Kickstarter, from Freestyle Comics. Shout out to Mike Watson and the whole team. They're awesome. Freestyle, FSK Day, all that good stuff. We're going to be reviewing these when I got a chance to read them. Hopefully sometime this week, but there's tons of stuff.
And I can have them.
Yes, and he can have them after I read them.
And
done.
Yes.
And for those people out in Southern California, Decker Day Part 2.
What day?
On November 12th.
November 12th.
November 12th.
Yes.
Bono's Pizzeria in Long Beach, California. The food is kicking. The venue is great. And this one, we're going to have a free comic table. So come on.
Nice. So guys, we're going to leave y'all with some dope comics, some dope beats, and say bye.
And hip hop and geek.
Hip hop and geek.
Yeah.
I say. Whoa. All right, now go on. Good.
Are you gonna do it with me?
Yeah. All right, so go on and do it.
All right. Nope.
All right, this is the real one. All right. Oh man, thanks guys. Thanks for coming through.
Hey.
Good day, gentlemen. This is a pre-recorded briefing made prior to your departure, in which for security reasons of the highest importance has been known on board during the mission. Now that you are in Jupiter's space and the entire crew is revived, it can be told you. 18 months ago, the first evidence of intelligent life off the Earth was discovered. It was buried 40 feet below the lunar surface, near the crater Patron. Except for a single, very powerful radio emission aimed at Jupiter, the 4-million-year-old black monolith has remained completely inert. Its origin and purpose still a total mystery.
You're listening to my daddy, All Gorilla